Hey guys, so exactly 1 year ago, my first release called Funk It Up came out on all streaming platforms, and today I wanted to show you guys how I made the song, just like a quick little breakdown. Also go over the things that I would have done different if I were to make this song again. And yeah, first things, I wanna thank everyone for the support that this song has been getting. It's currently sitting at about 8,000 streams on Spotify only, and that's across the extended mix and the radio mix. So yeah, huge thank you to everyone that has been supporting Funk It Up. And yeah, so let's get into the breakdown. First thing I'm going to show is the guitar. This is the first element that comes in the song. It starts like this. So I took this guitar from Splice, which is a subscription based service where you can get copyright free samples so you can use them on your songs. So that's the first one that comes in. And then there's the second one that comes in. So the way I processed these samples was by having the first signal in mono and then duplicating that signal and putting one completely pan to the right and one completely pan to the left. You can see that here. So this one's to the left, this one's to the right. This was just to make that guitar sound wider. If I were to make this again, I would probably have just one signal and then use either a very short delay, some reverb, some other VSTs or plugins that make the sound wider, like Ozone Imager, which is a free one. And then we also have this reverse sound that leads into the guitar. Then for the second one, we have the same thing, one mono signal. And then we have these duplicated ones. This one's the same signal filtered and pan to the right and one octave lower. This one's the same thing but pan to the left. This was the same thing but one octave higher and pan to the right, and this one pan to the left. Those last details are hardly audible, so those are like the things that you think sound good when you're making them, but maybe in the full picture of the song they don't really make that much of a difference. So I would have probably not used those if I were to make the song again. The next element from the song is the vocal. This is what it sounds like.
Turn it up, funk it up. It's alright. Let loose.
So if I turn off this effect, we're ready for you. Get together and party like it's the last night of your life. As embarrassing as that sounds, it is me that made the vocal for this. So yeah, actually, quick little story. When I was making this song, I was on a call with a very good friend of mine. Her name is Sasa. And I pretty much had the whole instrumental finished. I had this, but I had no vocals for it. So we were thinking, okay, what can we add to this to make it sound more like a professionally finished song? So first thing we came up with was the Funk It Up, which is this one.
Funk it up.
And then while we were in the Zoom call, we kept writing on the chat of the call like different rhyme ideas and different lyrics ideas. And this is actually what I sent to DistroKid, the distributor service that I posted the song with. This is what I sent them so they could put the lyrics on all streaming platforms. And as you can see, it's super simple. It's the same lyrics repeating all over again. I'll play them while we read them.
Funk it up.
So it goes, it's alright, let loose, we're ready for you, get together and party like it's the last night of your life. Turn it up, funk it up. And as you can see, that just repeats over and over again. And yeah, that's basically how we came up with the lyrics of the song in like 30 minutes. So we have checked the guitars and the vocals. Now we're gonna look at the bass. The bass has two different layers. The first one sounds like this. This is the MIDI for the bass. It's written in E minor. And there's the second layer. It's hard to hear if you don't have headphones, but it's basically this synth called Ample Bass P2 Lite. It's a free plugin, and it's basically trying to emulate a real life bass playing. And so this sound is a patch from Operator that I took from one of my favorite artists' tutorials from John Summit. He was doing a tutorial on how to make tech house like the pros, I think it's called, and this is the patch that he made in the tutorial, and I just copied the same exact preset and used it because it sounds amazing. Then we have the kick. This kick comes from Evo Sounds Deceiver Volume 3. I really like these packs. I use them all the time. I recommend them to everyone that asks me what sample packs I use. These are all great sounds that you can use straight out of the pack without any processing. For this kick, I added some drum bus and some EQ. If I were to do this again, I would have probably just done the EQ one, as the drum bus was basically trying to make up for my poor mixing skills when I was mixing the whole track. But I mean, it worked at the time that I was doing it, so if it sounds good, it sounds good, and just leave it like that. Then the clap also comes from Evo Sounds. And then we have all these separate drums, plus this conga drum loop, and playing with the kick, the clap, and the rest of the drums, it sounds like this. It's a very nice, simple drum groove. And it works well because the other elements of the song are quite busy. The bass line is very, very busy. And that's why you need to leave space for those other elements that are busier. With the drums, you need to have something that sounds good, but also is quite simple. For the effects, there's only two different effects that I used. One is a snare build-up. This comes from the stock Ableton 909 snare. I use it all the time. It's a great sounding snare. It's basically doing a 16 pattern with some rolls in between, and it's going through a low pass auto filter, opening up as the build goes up. Then there's this crash, so for the last drop I made a little fill before the drop. I call it kick rolls, and it basically sounds like this. It's just the same kick sample being repeated in like a different pattern, and this one is the kick sample reversed. You can hear it goes like boom. So that's what I did, and then we also have a different one in the second part of the drop. Just some little nice fills to add some variation to the track. Actually, for this second drop, the last one, all the drums except the kick come in at the second beat instead of the first one, also with the crash, which sounds like a bit of like a pause, but it makes everything come back with like more impact. I'll show you how that sounds again. So yeah, that's a nice trick that I also started hearing mostly with John Summit songs, one of my biggest inspirations, so I decided to implement it in this track. Then we also have this other bass layer that plays during the break and the build-up. It's a more of a repeating melody, which I thought worked well for the build-up to create more tension. And this one is also taken from Splice, and I processed it very similarly to the other ones, having one to the right and one to the left. But for these ones, I took out all the frequencies below 225 Hertz, because you always want to avoid having the very low frequencies in stereo, because it's just gonna sound like very muddy, and it's gonna sound all over the place in like big speakers. So that's why I kept the main bass in mono, and then the higher frequencies in stereo panted each side. I forgot to mention the way I processed the vocal was also having one in the middle and one stereo. So that's the stereo one, and that's the mono one. Most of these sounds are going into these return channels, or return buses, I think it's called in other DAWs. This is basically a signal with an effect. For example, this one I have the reverb. So you can hear it's just the reverb from that vocal, and basically what it's doing is it's sending this signal to that reverb, so you have the dry signal that is not affected, and then you have that extra reverb layer that is playing in the background. And we have the same one with a delay.
like it's the last night of her life.
And I made the same one for the guitar and the crash. So I made a return channel for the reverb for both of those. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's how the song sounds for the last drop. Once again, thank you so much to everyone that has been supporting the song. I hope you found this video either entertaining, helpful, interesting. If you did, make sure to show some support on the channel. I will be making more of these track breakdowns as I release more songs. And yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.